Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 36th episode of our House of Light playthrough, first run on YouTube, and we are continuing on with our salon preparations, as well as just a little bit of cleanup in terms of some of the other details on the, a few of the other details that we've left hanging. So I'd like, if I can, to try and get a few more skills. I think I'm probably going to have to reconcile myself with the fact that I may not have that many elements of the soul to help out with the salon, but we can still give it a shot, right? What else? Yeah, we'll see what the day brings. If I can get the Gospel of Nicodemus down, that would be good. I just kind of let myself down by not taking advantage of the sunny day, so we'll have to see what happens. And at some point I should also make the drinks. Now I'm just going to double check that I don't have any I do have potatoes. Okay, so that would be a good use of the Arab if I don't have any other, if I don't have any other tasks. What else? Definitely want to talk to Denzel, so that might be a use for the health, because we'll have to use the metal. Actually, the shaft would be a better candidate here. So let's talk with Denzel at the smithy. I'm always welcome at Denzel's smithy. Denzel will offer help for free as a friend. If you give him occult coinage, he will perform the service of division. Now, I also need at least one more cat wink for the invitation, so we'll get that out of the way right now. And then I think we might wait for the weather. Well, there's one other thing that I'm going to do today. I'll get some money right off the bat, but I do want to be a little more careful on my elements of the soul. If nothing else, I should be using the shaft to open up vegetable sacks or something like that. All right, there's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can provide 6 pence worth of odd jobs. Now, I have a little bit of a dilemma when it comes to how I handle the kitchen range, because there's one side of me that would like to do some gardening just to fill in that sack of vegetables. But on the other hand, so that'll take the core, the Arab, or the health. So it's like, okay, well, because I may want to do some gardening, maybe I just use the Arab. The drawback here is that if I do that with the Arab, then it's less likely that I'm going to be able to use Desires and Dissolutions to make a Witching to Sane. Actually, sorry, because it's leveled up to level 3, I believe I can use anything now and just add the spice scales. So I have a little more flexibility than I thought. But in any case, I don't need to make that decision right away. One other thing that I'm going to want to do is prepare drinks. So I'll probably make the Dawn Lion coffee. That'll give me the scale for Mr. Strathcoin. And then, I don't know, we'll see the rest of it. We don't need to do tea and coffee. I did that previously just because it's sort of on stream, because Ibn Aladim is a teetotaler. So it would be nice to, just have everybody enjoy some coffee and tea. But, whatever works, whatever allows me to make progress in the game. So for all of that, I guess the other thing I'd like to do would be to catalog some books. However, the metal is going to be spoken for today. So let's wait to see what the weather brings before I go too far into my various tasks. Okay, so the cloudy day doesn't give me that much to work with. The moon and moth, I don't think I would use that to read a particular book. This, of course, doesn't rule out the possibility of reading something like the Gospel of Nicodemus. It just means that I'm going to be using an element of the soul to get a memory, or talk with Denzel to get a certain memory. I'm slightly inclined to get something like a revelation, but maybe we'll see what we can get from Denzel first. Because we don't have much else going for us, I think I'm going to use one of the health to make the good old-fashioned ordinary potatoes. Roast potatoes, a dish with edge, forge, heart, and winter. I'm also inclined to go to Crowcross Sands. Again, having a little fish never hurts. What has the sea seeded today? I'm also inclined to get the Witching to Sane out of the way. So we'll do that, and then we'll add the desires and dissolution. So craft a witching Tisane. Hush House still rings with thwarted desires. I'll mix those into a Tisane. So the metal is spoken for Denzel. We'll use that. We'll use the memory and Denzel's default default 2 to allow him to open up the Shrouded Stair. Should maybe take a look and see what else is enabled. So we can get him up to 6 automatically. I would need another 4 if I wanted to get to 10. So I just need a minute to think about this. I think we can get the extra forge from the Veiled Goddess. So that would bring him up to 8. We can bring him up to 9 with a spanners or the square. So I suppose the question then is, what kind of forge food do I have for him? That won't interfere. Well, actually the almonds. You know what? This isn't exactly where I was planning on taking it, but we seem to have a good opportunity available to us, and I do like to... I like to go deeper when I can. Alright, I've carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This does make me think, though, that probably I should use the Tryst to... Yeah, I'm going to use the Tryst to generate a... I guess we'll do this at the Regent's... or Natan's desk, rather. This didn't have a label? Holy hell. I could see why they didn't. How did I miss those? I'm sure I set these aside for some reason, and I've just ruined a system that I had in place, but... Okay. Okay, I was going to say, this is surprising if I don't have something that gives me revelations. So I'll read A Shape in Smoke. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. I have a feeling that I'm going to wind up using the option to restore elements of the soul quite a bit today. Denzel rarely works for free, but he won't take payment for helping a friend. So let's have a chat with him about metal to begin with. Inspiration and determination boosts forge and edge. Taking a minute to see if there's any other forge food that I have to work with. I think the almonds are my best bet. Our course is fixed. I can discuss a memory with my assistant. This will use up the memory, but boost the assistant's abilities for the rest of the day. I'll set aside a moment to just make sure I've got everything I need drinks-wise. Like, I want to properly map that out to who's getting what. There's the cat wig. I'd like to make more of it, but it's not... As long as I have 4, I've got my main priorities taken care of. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. So I've got enough now with this 6 to restore these 3. We'll maybe add the metal as well to the list. Maybe we'll ignore the tryst as well, but Tubbins will buy me a hearty meal in a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. All right. So this should be the 5 items for the salon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now we only have 1 of 4 drinks, though. I think we're probably going to have to rearrange the table just to make sure that everything's properly set up. But Let me take a minute here. So we've got the Evening Isles coffee. That'll cover me for forge, lantern, and rose. I think I'm also going to go ahead and say we'll use the core to dig up some vegetables. It's not the main thing I need right now, but it's not going to hurt. So we'll do leaves and thorns, carrots, tomatoes, marrows, and blessed onions, all the unsung heroes of the stew pot. Witching to say, and it's best when it's warm, but it'll keep. So this is going to be corsos. Can I fit you on the edge here? Probably not. Witching to say is a cup is actually one of the larger items. So one thing that would probably be better would be to put the potatoes on the table and then the mackerel on the seat, but we'll make it work. I don't need to fuss about that too much right now. So I'm going to use the health to read the Gospel of Nicodemus, and that's just because I have, like, this will take scale, and it also takes lantern. So it's if I had something like Nona's desk up here, I would be able to I'd be able to use that, but I'm kind of working with what I have right now. Okay, let me just take a look at my options here. So Dawn Lion Coffee is forge, lantern, and scale. Sorry, my writing's a little hard to read here, so... Okay, so forge, lantern, scale. So really the difference between Evening Isles and Dawn Lion would be the scale. The Cater Hero and Hero Second Flush Assam would give me Lantern, I believe. Although I may not have... Oh, yeah, here we go. So... it's not bad to just take a minute to just reflect on who's getting invited. So Serena requires Forge. Olympi requires Forge. Fraser requires Scale. Corso requires Grail. And I believe Denzel is wide open. So Serena is okay with any kind of coffee, as is Olympi. Fraser needs the Dawn Lion. Corso already has the Witching to Sane, so we're good there. And we actually don't have any Lantern visitors, so I don't need to worry. I don't need to worry about that. So I guess at this point we do... Well, we could also just give Fraser the Schloss Jannings at this point. But I think maybe what I'll do is 2 Evening Isles coffee for Serena and Olympi, 1 Dawn Lion for Fraser, maybe 1 for Denzel as well, and that should cover me. Of course, it also invites the question, what element of the soul do I use to prepare that? But that's a later question. I'll definitely need to remember to buy some coffee and tea when I do the next order, though, because we are getting a bit short. Okay. For all those preparations, we will just leave those aside for A Shape in Smoke, Ambrose Westcott's exposition on tobacco blending and the oracles of the pipe. The text is spotted with sparkles throughout. Westcott observes gnomically that a pipe might be said to manifest the red flower of the watchman's tree, for when lies are burnt, wisdom arises, and vice versa. I also wonder how this relates possibly to the Tomb of Lies, the Great Hooded Princess. I think that's associated with the Great Hooded Princess. That's in, I think, Ava's work on it, 108. All right. So we go to the Pale Desk. Solomon Husher himself commissioned this from Lockwood Fen Boggu, blackened and half fossilized by centuries under water. Here, at this desk, he wrote his doomy allegory of winter and its romance with the sun. When he blotted the last word on his manuscript and rose from his work, the timber had turned pale as fresh-cut maple, or so the story goes. So here we add the Revelation. This we should be able to add to Inks of Revelation, so this gives us 5 of the 6. Finally, we add the Mirror Scope, bewildering and occasionally useful. We use this to read the Gospel of Nicodemus, an apocryphal account of the works and experiences of the shepherd illuminate by one of his supposed companions. I can master this mystery, enough lantern to match mystery lantern. So everything else today is going to be either kind of targets of opportunity or trying to fill in some remaining blanks. So for instance, right now, I can just use Denzel to open up the Shrouded Stair. But because I have the opportunity to open up the stopped clock, I'm going to push a little bit further. Even though it means that I'm not getting the memories that I would normally get from Denzel. In this case, again, I just have an opportunity to do something useful. Spanners, when you need them, you need them. I can lend my assistants something to help increasing their abilities. We already have a poured cup of the Lapsang Souchong, so we'll wait on that. Sea-strewn, salt-snared stuff. So I wind up with a lot of sand over my playthroughs. I'm going to try and get a little bit better at dumping it when I can, but I don't need the loss memory as much. The real hope always is to get something like mackerel or pilchards. Those are very helpful. Okay, so we'll move them up to 9 with the tea. I can offer my assistant something to drink. And then the almonds are all ready to go. Suppose I could also use... Or no, ham is scale, not forge. Better now. Alright, so I think we're going to plow ahead. What else do I want to do with my shaft right now? I could catalog a book. I think probably the tea preparation is the answer, though. So let's go with the Dawn Lion. Bring water to the boil. Permit the potential here to express itself. All right, we'll get that last level through the almonds. I can offer my assistants something to eat. This will increase their aspects. It's also just friendly. I should be restoring the shaft at this point. It'll be nice if I get a chance to make some more money out of this, but I've already got my 6 pence, so I can restore up to 3 elements of the soul. Alright, steam and scent both rise. It's ready. So I think we're just going to pour all of this out for the salon. Pour it out. God, Tissayan is massive. This is largely just to keep my... So yeah, I'm lugging around four sacks of vegetables throughout the house, as one does. Okay, so that's four of the required drinks. Oh, looks like I do have space for this one. So again, we can get by with just about anything, but let's see if I can find some kind of tea to work with. Yeah, we've got the evening isles, or well, sorry, tea or coffee. This will do the trick. Of course, I need an element of the soul to brew it, but we'll have that momentarily. The sustenance has boosted their aspects appropriately. All right, so they're at 10. So in this case, we'll just keep speaking to Denzel. We'll see if we can get any memories that are useful. And for the rest of the day, I'll probably just renew elements of the soul as I go. So in this case, I'll use this shaft to make something or brew something or whatever. This one I'll pay to restore, but I'll use it to make some money. That should close us out for the evening. Okay, the Gospel of Nicodemus, an apocryphal account of the works and experiences of the shepherd Illuminate by one of his supposed companions. Inventory Lucius Soli Invicto Nuntio reads the dedication, loosely translatable as, I am the herald of the sun unconquerable, light's contriver. This is a variation on the more usual Invicto Augusto, the declaration which united the Eastern and Western traditions of the Church Solar. The shepherd Illuminate, the virgin-born, warns of the sun's division, but promises its ultimate reunification in the second dawn through the ministry of Saint Uzalt. Uzalt is, of course, the ink of power used by librarians of the tree, but also venerated as a saint in some borderline heterodox solar traditions. If I have read this one, it has been a while. That was a very interesting one, and this gives us revelations, so we can put that with the other revelations. And this is a pretty easy one for me to incorporate. We'll just acquire Sacrosolus Invicti. I don't really have that much to do with the revelation. We can't take that with us overnight. So if I have something to throw the revelation into, great, but we're a bit short on elements of the soul. Oh, actually, I can probably use this to invite one of our guests. So we'll add the ink. So here we'll request Corso's presence. I have enough here to craft a letter inviting Corso to Brandkrug. Better now. And as promised, we will brew the Evening Isles coffee. Bring water to the boil, permit the potential here to express itself. Now I just need to post it. I suppose if I'd like, I can formalize these other invitations. So we'll invite Serena again. I have enough here to craft a letter inviting Serena to Brandkrug. Actually, before I do that, let's just make sure I can invite... Oh yeah, Rager Strathcoin's pretty easy. Also, I'm just double checking because I remember... So it was Corso, Hokabald, and Serena. Yeah, so Serena and Corso are guaranteed invites because of the event. I'd like to invite Hokabald too, but there's no way I'm getting the Orpiment Exultant in time, so... Okay. Now, it's worth just taking a minute here in terms of the other guests that I can invite. So if I go to my book, the people that I can invite full stop would be Douglas Moore, Olympie Bichet, Arthur Moore, Fraser Strathcoyne, Zachary Wakefield, and Stanislav John Schaller. So if I don't want to add Fraser, right now what I've already sort of applied him for would be the roast beef. So technically anybody with edge, forge, heart, or scale would work. And in fact, because it's forge, technically that also opens up things like the orange jumble and poached mackerel and such, just because we can move people around. But I think the simplest, so the reason I say this is like Schaller would be a good example of somebody that I could invite here, simply because remove the scale, well, we still have the heart that we need. But I think it's probably better not to mess too much with the plans. I simply just don't have that many elements of the soul, or no, sorry, I don't have that many interactions yet because I've lacked the elements of the soul to really get in deep on the different interactions. So this may come up later as I get more elements of the soul and start exhausting some of the different dialogue options. But right now, it doesn't hurt to just keep inviting the same people over, just so that I can finally tease out a little bit more of the interactions. The other thing that's worth considering, right? I'm not 100% sure. I think it's the subjects that they're interested in, not necessarily their like what it takes to bring them in. So there's a slight advantage to me angling this towards people who won't be looking for things like Faust. But there's limits to that, right? Because, you know, like, for instance, Whist, which I don't have, is both Winter and Lantern. Now that one's actually a little more clear-cut for me because I don't have Faust and I don't have Whist, so Lantern isn't something that I'm going to be too big on. And, you know, people who want Nectar, I've never seen health be something that's required as part of a salon. So, you know, I don't think it's all that helpful to look for people who are looking for Nectar. However, people who are looking for heart might be able to help. So if we take a look, I'll maybe show it when we have the visitors over, but I'm not entirely sure I have, like, out of the people who I'm inviting, I think probably we've got it about as good as we can get in terms of the people who will share some of the interests that we're looking to get lessons from. Okay, with all of that in mind, so we've got Serena, I guess Olympie is next on the list. She needs moth. Now, I suppose the interesting question here is, can I get a moth at this desk? I'm not so sure I can because, well, first of all, this isn't good enough. Resurgences and emergences will do the trick, though. Another leaf on the Tree of Wisdoms. Sacrosolus Invicti, the rites of the Church of the Unconquered Sun, and certain secrets of the gods from light. He does a lot with silence, this man. Speak to Denzel, he might even reply. Steam and scent both rise. It's ready. All right, so this one will have 1 cup left over. Pour out. Now I just need to post it. So the last person to invite would be Fraser Strathcoyne. We will... So if we add Stone Stories and the Cat Wink, we should be guaranteed to bring him over. I have enough here to craft a letter inviting Strathcoyne to Brandkrug. So any more catwink that I make is just, it's a nice little surplus. Okay, poured out. Let's see if I can actually fit this on the chair. Hooray! Coffee from beyond the sunset sea. Poured out. Now I just need to post it. I've got to decide whether or not I want to host the salon tomorrow. I think I will, just because I can't see a huge breakthrough in terms of lessons for the next day, especially the ones that will give me that'll give me access to the things that I would need for a salon. So I don't know. Obviously, there's a bit that's been unlocked by Kilisimi. Well, actually, now that I think of it, I think Kilisimi didn't really open anything I didn't already have access to. But either way, we'll make it work. Of course, the big appeal of inviting everybody over is just to catch up on that, catch up on the further stories. With maniacal but methodical care, someone has disassembled the clock and scattered it around the room. Wheels and parts have been piled up and lent on every surface. A W has been marked on the stairs in soot. Better now. So at this point, I think I'll just make the money. I don't think there was anything for me to do with the shaft that... well, I guess opening up a container, but we can do that later. Cataloging would be nice too. I think the priorities that I'm going to do, we'll host a salon. We will, after that, we'll take care of the lessons that we gain. Assuming we gain lessons, there's always the chance that that doesn't turn out. And then from there, we will open whatever containers we have and finally catalog the remaining books. So skills are actually one of the lower priorities for the next little while. Dream on a memory. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. And what awaits us? Tower Clock. George Collars, governor of Brandkrug Jail, oversaw the design and installation of this great clock with the reluctant help of the librarian Serena Blackwood. She might have refused outright had she known how he intended to reuse the horologist's techniques for his so-called condignator. An inscription on the greatest wheel reads, "Strike the hours." So next level, Fallen Bells. This will go up to 11. So probably if I want to move Denzel up, we'd probably give him the beef in this case. But I'm not. It's not a. That's not a near-term goal. It's nice to have, but certainly not critical. I'm mildly tempted to try and get Denzel to go to the Shrouded Stair, but you know, I can probably make both work. So if I use the health to bring in Denzel for dinner, yeah, I can actually use 2 health. One to invite him to the salon, then 1 to open up the room. I like that idea. Okay, so today's going to be the salon day, but I'm going to try and get more than one task done. And of course, that will be something that I do in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.